The Biden campaign is apparently set to release some monumental, record-breaking fundraising numbers, $300 million plus in the month of August. No one has ever even come close to that. Barack Obama apparently had the previous record that was $193 million in 1 month. And according to the New York Times, since picking Kamala Harris on the ticket, cash has just floated to the Biden-Harris campaign. And I mean, you remember in the reporting leading up to Harris's selection, the New York Times said that one of the things that was a major asset for her was how well-liked she was in the donor community, that Wall Street and Silicon Valley really liked her and they were really pushing for her. And so I guess they're super excited and they're chipping in tons of money. The Trump campaign, we don't know what they are going to post for August yet. We do know they said they had huge, I think $76 million raised just over the course of the 4 days of the RNC. Right. So look, they're not going to be hurting for cash either, but this is an eye-popping
Here's
number.
The real issue, right, is that you peg that to Hillary, right? So Hillary obviously ran, a very well-funded campaign. This is double what Hillary got. So at the exact same time.
Wow.
August 2016, Hillary raised $143 million. Trump only raised $90 million. Now, granted, Trump 2016 was a total mess and, a lot of it was self-funded, so I don't even think that that's really fair. The Hillary comparison is the one that mattered. At the same time, look, Hillary had all the money in the world. Didn't work out so well. So it's not like money equals everything, but it's about what they're going to do with that money. And now we're starting to get a good idea, which is that the Biden campaign is spending a lot of money on TV advertising. Hundreds of millions of dollars. We actually got a look just now from the New York Times about what some of that money is being spent on. These ads about pushing back actually against Trump and going on the offensive about rioting and looting, and then Trump basically responding on the air as well, but not nearly as much money. Let's take a listen to both of those.
I want to make it absolutely clear. Rioting is not protesting. Looting is not protesting. It's lawlessness, plain and simple. And those who do it should be prosecuted. Fires are burning and we have a president who fans the flames. He can't stop the violence because for years he's fomented it. But his failure to call on his own supporters to stop acting as an armed militia in this country shows how weak he is. Violence will not bring change. It'll only bring destruction. It's wrong in every way. If I were president, my language would be less divisive. I'd be looking to lower the temperature in this country, not raise it. Donald Trump is determined to instill fear in America because Donald Trump adds fuel to every fire. This is not who we are. I believe we'll be guided by the words of Pope John Paul II, words drawn from the scriptures. Be not afraid. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Lawless criminals terrorize Kenosha. Joe Biden takes a knee. Biden and the radical left's weak response has led to chaos and violence, and their calls for defunding police would make it worse. President Trump is making it stop, sending National Guard and federal law enforcement to protect Wisconsin's families. Communities, not criminals. Jobs, not mobs. Strong leadership when America needs it most.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
So there you go, Krystal. Except the problem is that Biden ad, according to that New York Times story, every single battleground state with a ton of money behind it. And I frankly think, look, I think the Trump ad is fine, but I think that the Biden ad really hits that great note of calm the waters. That's all Americans want. And right now, some polling just came out. Black Lives Matter has basically plummeted in national popularity, very much for this reason, being seen as associated with riots and with chaos. So what do people on the left and the right want? They want calm. They want somebody who's going to say, let's take the temperature down. That's a very effective statement from Biden, I thought.
And look, let's recall that Biden launched his campaign on Charlottesville, on unrest in the streets.
Right.
So he's not new to this messaging, which is why I was always skeptical that the riots will help Trump. I was always skeptical that that would be the case because we know this president, he doesn't handle this stuff well. He can't help but to fan the flames. He can't help to defend when it's his supporters out there with paintballs and pepper spray and all that stuff. And so, yes, Biden comes in with this very straightforward. I condemn the violence. We need to heal. We need to come together. Here's a little bit of scripture for you. It works really effectively. One other thing I wanted to point out about the fundraising numbers, and I think that this is maybe the most noteworthy piece, is according to people from Biden's campaign, this again in the New York Times, majority of Biden's August dollars actually came from online grassroots donors.
Wow. That's a big shift.
Not the case for Joe Biden. I mean, you'll recall in the primary, I mean, he struggled to raise money at all from anyone, anywhere. And certainly, remember, they had to pull their digital ads because they just weren't producing dollars whatsoever. It's a little bit of a sign that maybe people are getting a little bit more affirmatively excited about Joe and engaged in this campaign. So I thought that was an interesting note. But on the sort of, the rival rioting messaging, there was also new polling from Morning Consult about who people trusted more in terms of dealing with crime and law and order is Joe Biden. So if you're looking for someone who's going to bring calm, I think most people, if they think about which potential administration is going to turn down the temperature, I think that, Biden has a pretty strong case for that.
Yeah, and you know what? This has been always the problem with Trump. This is what we talked about yesterday, which is that it does not take a lot to say to any Trump supporter of mine. I think he did say it later on when he was in Kenosha, but he was like, to any supporter of mine, do not go out there with a gun. Do not go out there in the street. Let the boys in blue handle it. And that's what they do. I think that's a much more effective message, much more analogous to what Biden has done. And the argument continues to be, but Kamala, but all these woke staffers. I'm like, I agree. But once again, voters do not see it that way. They are voting for Joe Biden. They think that that's the guy who's going to handle it. And that's how people vote. It's top of the ticket. It's about trust between that person and the other, in the same way that many people have been like, actually, Trump employs Steve Mnuchin. People are like, I don't even know who Steve Mnuchin is. Right. How many Americans do you know who Steve Mnuchin is? Maybe 20%?
People who watch this show.
Yeah, people who watch this show. But, most people are out there living their lives, and I don't fault them for it. And so that's just something I think that Trump campaign really needs to get through its head.
Yeah, I fault them for not watching Rising, though, personally.
True.
All right, more Rising for you after this.